What is up guys, this is Vishu from SavageCamp, and in this video we are going to look at the basic auth method in request. So the way this endpoint is you will see these curly braces, and that usually means that the value is dynamic. So you can put any value for user and any value for password. So we can just test it out over here. I can do /basic auth, and then suppose I put Vishu and I put password. So if I try to run this, you have to understand I'm not passing in the login information, I'm passing in the actual username and password. So here if I put Vishu and password, it is only going to work when I'm trying to logging in. So this is the login information, this is the actual information. So when I do this, it is going to test with the URL, and it is going to let me know if it has been authenticated or not. So if I do the same thing again, let's do password 1, and I can put some stupid thing, and you will see now it is giving me the prompt again because it is not able to authenticate. So it needs both of these values to match the value in URL. So I'm going to copy the URL and define it over here. Let's do import request, and let's keep it simple. So URL is equal to password. I will say response is equal to request dot get, and I have to show you this. So here it's a get method, so we are going to use the get method. And this is a URL testing, so it's always not going to be get. A few times if there's a form, then you will have to post into that form. But in this case, I will say request.get URL, and then if you want to pass in the username and password, request module takes in an authentication tab. In authentication, you have to put in a tuple which says Vishu and then the password. So it's giving the same username and password that we have in the URL. Let's print out response, and we should get a 200. So we get a response of 200. You can do a response.text, and this will actually give you the text, which is authenticated is equal to true and user is Vishu. What happens if I change the username? It is basically not giving me any text. So let's put the status code and see what we get. So we get a 401 status code, and if you don't know, 401 status code usually says that there is invalid authentication, which means that it cannot authenticate the user, and it is correct because I have the 1 over here, and in this case it would be 200. And again we can put the JSON method, and it should give us the output in a JSON format. So this is how you authenticate a username and password. A good practice is always to have username is equal to Vishu and password is equal to password, and you pass in the variables instead of hard coding the username and password. So that's actually a good method. If you're going to write something like this where you're going to pass passwords, always store it in database and put an MD5 hash or some encryption, and then pull it from the database and pass it over here. But that is it for today's video guys, and I hope you try this out. The more you try, the more you will understand this and you will get what is happening. But that is it for this video guys, and I will see you guys in the next one.